Mojang has unveiled a new Minecraft game, and it's an augmented reality mobile experience called Minecraft Earth. The title was announced at MineCon, where Mojang explained it will be a free-to-play experience that, among other things, will task players with hunting down clusters of blocks, chests, and mobs scattered throughout the real world, and creating grand data structures with other players. The parallels to the massively successful Pokemon Go are clear. Minecraft Earth, like Mojang Go, combines one of the most recognizable properties in entertainment with the mainstream math variety and where mobile are formatly ingredients for another potential phenomenon. The base Minecraft game has sold 176 million copies worldwide in 10 years, and has over 19 million monthly active users. That's more than Fortnite. In Minecraft Earth, you will go out in the real world to find small clusters of blocks, chests, or mobs called Tappables. As you walk, you will also find adventures, which are small slices of Minecraft worlds that you play in life-size. Explained Mojang. Your sidewalk becomes a mine, where there may be diamonds under your feet. Your local park may have Minecraft trees where skeletons lurk, ready for a skirmish. Players will collect resources, fight mobs, and gain experience points to progress in their career. Although the gameplay broad strokes differ, Minecraft Earth seems to be taking cues from Pokemon Go, the uber popular mobile game that lets players explore the real world in search of pocket monsters, fight other players for control of gyms, and level up their favorite mons. Since launching back in July 2016, Pokemon Go has been downloaded over 750 million times, and brought in over $1.8 billion in revenue for developer Niantic. Mojang has not revealed when Minecraft Earth will be hitting digital shelves, but it has confirmed the iOS and Android title will be entering closed beta this summer. Register now for XRDC 2019. The premier RVL Mr. event for devs. Clyde Mandelin is a professional translator, game programmer, Legends of Localization founder, and Poemato CX co-host. A game developer friend of mine recently hired a translation agency to translate his latest game into Japanese. I offered to skim through it and make sure everything was okay, and it turned out to be a sheer disaster. So I thought I'd write up a quick article for gamers and game developers who have dreams of releasing stuff in Japan someday. There's a common assumption that when you translate something from English into another language, there should not be any English left when you are done. Otherwise it would be an incomplete translation, right? And do you feel like you got cheated out of the money you spent on translation, right? If you are translating into Japanese, that assumption is wrong. English makes up a significant portion of the Japanese language today, and on top of that, English has been a major part of Japanese video games since the very beginning. Because of this long-lived connection between video games and English, Japanese gamers expect a certain level of English in their games. So when a game features no English at all, it feels very weird and awkward. This expectation and acceptance of English especially applies to menus, messages to the players, and other user interface text. If you are not familiar with how Japanese works, the two examples above might not seem out of place. But keep in mind that Japanese games regularly look like this. Lots of English on this selection screen. This is kind of similar to Problem #1, but not exactly the same. If you have ever listened to Japanese video game voice acting, or listened to Japanese anime, you have probably heard characters shout words in sort of garbled English when doing special moves. For instance, we have all heard CHRDC magic spell names using phonetic English. In those cases, the developer's code easily used the Japanese words for firebolt, eruption, explode, windblade, and thunderbolt, but they did not. So if you end up turning every special term into fully translated Japanese, the result is likely to feel cheap and awkward. Here's a silly online comment about this phenomenon. In fact, I am not sure which game it's talking about, but it's probably referring to Hearthstone. Another example is Earthlock, which is often compared to Final Fantasy X and is a love letter to the genre. Unfortunately, the translators never really took this into account. So all of the phonetic English you do normally see in Japanese Final Fantasy games was fully translated out. Even basic terms like cure and Regen get this treatment. Problem pound key 1 and problem pound key 2 on T make or break name translations into Japanese, but they can definitely hurt the overall experience. You can easily avoid them if you and your translator have an open line of communication. These next issues can turn your hard work into a laughingstock. However, the Japanese language has some qualities to it that are not as clear-cut in English, particularly when it comes to entertainment. Different genders use different speech styles. Characters of different ages use different speech patterns. The language has multiple politeness levels that depend on the relationship between the listener and the speaker. Some occupations use stereotypically different language, etc. All of these things quickly add up. So if you hire a stranger to translate a giant text file of dialogue into Japanese, the result is probably going to be very bad, unless you provide lots of extra notes, screenshots, videos, and back and forth communication. Otherwise you get mods talking like demons, tough guys talking like little girls, etc. Terror is a sort of neutral Japanese, but it still comes across as polite yet sterile. Imagine you are a game dev, and you have just finished a game. You want to release it in Japan to get even more sales, but you do not know Japanese. So what do? You'd probably try to think of a friend or someone you know who could help, right? And then after that you might look around online for translation companies. Eventually, you get your game script translated and everything seems to be okay. But if you do not know the language to begin with, how do you know the translation is accurate? This is precisely how things like All Your Base and Vroom in the Night get made. The problem is that game translation is very different from ordinary document translation. So if you simply send off your text to get translated, wait a while, and then get the finished translation sent back to you, you are probably in trouble. Even more so if you use an all-in-one agency that talks about translating into 100 languages and handling a wide range of materials. Also, a good game translator will probably ask lots of questions about context, maybe so many questions that it gets annoying sometimes. If there is very little communication, then you can expect a lousy translation. There are lots more problems that can happen in an English to Japanese game translation. Singular plural issues, literally translating idioms, genuine translation mistakes, text that gets cut off, etc. The problems listed above are just some of the biggest causes of frustration that I have seen among Japanese gaming communities. So I hope that listing them here can help developers avoid translation disasters. More than anything, though, the quality of the Japanese translation, and any translation, ultimately falls to the developer. If you provide lots of notes about context, lots of info about how different characters should behave, lots of screenshots and videos of key moments, and just be there to answer lots of questions. The translation will end up pretty good. But if you just hand a bunch of text files to a random company that does not specialize in game localization, then you are on the way to destruction, and have no chance to survive. Make your time. If you liked this brief, look at how game translations in JRPG can mess up.